Michigan's short track racing authority is Horsepower Happenings.
Charlie Bauer, welcome into Horsepower Happenings.
Scotty Thiel, welcome to Horsepower Happenings.
John Beach, welcome into Horsepower Happenings.
Adam Terry, welcome into Horsepower Happenings.
Paul Pelletier,
Corbin Hazlett, Riley Knoll,
Matt Kemp, Dylan Stovall, welcome into Horsepower Happenings.
From pavement to dirt, modifieds to sprint cars, hear from drivers, promoters, track owners, and many other industry leaders.
We worked on that car for 12 days straight, and when I got to the speedway Saturday, I was out of gas. I had to take a nap.
You're out there and, you know, that groove, if you're outside of it, you could be a couple tenths off or even half a second off.
It is not the shock that you've won all these races, you know what I mean? There's so many pieces to the puzzle to make these cars go fast.
I don't care what he says. I saw a thing on Facebook on somebody's post that's now been deleted that one of his crew guys said that the spotter told him car low and I wrecked him.
With over 50 years of experience from racing to management, here are Zach Heiser and Rich Fran.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome in to another episode of the Horsepower Happenings podcast. Jam-packed tonight, we'll have formerly from McClure, Ohio, formerly from Jackson, Michigan, maybe now I don't know. We're going to find out. Rusty Schlenk coming up on the program tonight, plus the MadMax moment with Zane DeVault and Max Stambaugh, and we're going history diving. One of the latest from the class of 2025 into the Michigan Motorsports Hall of Fame, Dennis Strickland. That's all coming up, but first, here's what's happening in a Mark News Minute. In the world of NASCAR, we were out west to Phoenix over the weekend in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Almost screwed that up. Justin Allgaier goes to victory lane in the NASCAR Cup Series. It's Ryan Blaney. World of Outlaws in action over the weekend, but it was the big storyline. Donnie Schatz goes back to victory lane. Yes, it was with the World of Outlaws, but that was overshadowed by the fact that Don went back to victory lane after such a tumultuous year. I can tell Rich wants to talk about that, so we will coming up in just a moment. How about Lucas Oil? Jonathan Davenport made history over the weekend, picking up his 95th career Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series victory to lead all competitors, and then Devin Moran wins the Veland Winter Nationals finale at Golden Isles. And finally, Jake Finch picked up his first career win in the prestigious Alabama 200 for the Pro Late Models. That was Saturday night at Montgomery. Dylan Feccio, Gage Gilby completed the podium. Those things and so much more happening tonight on Horsepower Happenings. Good evening. Welcome in. I'm Zach Heiser. Rich France. Oh, my goodness. Look at your complexion, my friend.
Just a little darker after a couple of weeks, huh?
How was your vacation, man? Welcome back.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I did listen to the interviews and stuff like that on my spare time. And I want to give thank you to Cody. Cody did a great job filling in when we saw him at the bowling tournament on Saturday. I told him the same thing to his face. I thought Cody did a great job filling in, and I appreciated it very much.
Yes. Yeah, we appreciate Cody, KG Media, and he's geared up for the season too. If we can get it in, he's going to go down to Attica on Friday. More on that coming up.
Did you see the weather forecast?
Bottom of the show. I did, but I'm ignoring it. We probably should have raced today or Friday or Saturday.
Maybe a rain-snow mix down into the 30s.
Maybe.
I
don't know. There's still time. It could change.
4 days away, right?
Let us know. Facebook Live. Drop it in the comments right now. Will Attica Raceway Park race this Friday? They plan to. We'll talk about that more coming up.
They've planned to the last 4 years.
In just a little bit. Hey, I forgot to do this on Saturday during our broadcast, Rich, from the bowling tournament. But on Friday afternoon, while most of us were at the MSPA meeting over in Watervliet, Michigan, a community not that far from me, a community that supports Butler Motor Speedway and probably gets over to Hartford, gets over to M40, was absolutely devastated and all but flattened, Rich, due to what has now officially been confirmed as a level. I don't remember how they rank them in tornadic terms, but
F1, 2, 3, 4,
F2
5.
and F3 tornadoes touching down in the Three Rivers and Union City areas. This is not very far from Butler, not very far from M40 at all. And Rich, there were some fatalities that were a part of this as well. And we just offer our thoughts and prayers to those communities, Rich. What a scary thing that you don't really expect to see happen on March 7th.
And everything that I saw, they were saying that there was, after the fact, the reason nobody knew about it, all the weather services thought there was only a 2% chance of a tornado. And is that a chance? Yeah, but
Sure.
there weren't even watches put out or anything, and I think that was the thing. Nobody had time to go anywhere, and that's unfortunate.
Absolutely. And we caught Noah and I actually were coming back from the MSPA meeting, and we were headed down 69 South, and we looked to our west, and we saw the top of this system, and it was huge. I mean, just scary stuff. So our thoughts and prayers are with them. We know that a state of emergency has been issued for that area by the state of Michigan. So we're just thinking of everybody that is over there. So, all right, we mentioned the bowling tournament on Saturday, Rich. Great day. Almost, what was it? 90 bowlers, nearly 100 bowlers in the bowling alley. At least that many people that were there just to hang out and have a good time. And Rich, over $6,000 raised for the Michigan Auto Racing Fan Club Benevolent Fund.
Yep, and it went out to two families, the Cassidy family and to Woody. You know, I mean, it was for a good cause. Everybody came out. You know, we had some new people show up that hadn't been before. You know, Brian Nestor even came up all the way from Indiana and came out. Bud Gray had been there before, but Bud says, "Come on, we got to do this. Come on up." So they kind of met halfway, right? Because Bud's from up north.
Yeah.
Brian's from down south in Indiana, and it was cool seeing them.
You had a good interview with those guys.
Big Ed Enlos was there. That was cool seeing Big Ed.
Hey, you had a good interview with Bud and Brian, didn't you? Presented by Busch Light, I think.
Yeah, that's what it was presented by, because they were not going to leave those on the table behind them. They wanted to bring them with them, and I said, "Come on, guys, let's go."
Now, what was really cool, and the broadcast is still up on the Horsepower Happenings Facebook page, and of course, a Mark News production, but it's still up on the Facebook page. While we were on the air, not once, but twice, we got to watch a 300 game get completed while we were there.
By two guys that were teammates. And we don't want to go that far, right? Dale did a great, Dale Spencer did an outstanding job.
Give me the tech, give me tech inspection. I mean, come on, what are the odds?
But so Dale and his cousin were on the same team, and they each had a 300. And Dale had two of them.
I think so, yeah. Yeah.
And his cousin had the other one, and two of them were while we were interviewing, and our producer Noah's, he keeps pointing up at the scoreboard because we could see him, like, and we got to look back up and like, oh, that's why. That was so, and then we got to watch it, so that was pretty cool.
That was very cool. So a good job to those guys. And I got clarification today, Rich. Originally, it was reported that the Cassidy family and Michael Woody would receive $1,000 each. Apparently, that's because there was a little misunderstanding on how much money was actually raised during the day. So now it's been updated that each family will receive $2,000, which will put a little over $2,000 into the benevolent fund as well. So what a great day.
Everybody that showed up stepped out, and man, they took their hard cold cash that they earned and put it for a good cause. I mean, they did multiple 50-50 drawings throughout the day, and they were paying pretty good, right? So, it's our racing community, Zach. You know, you do something like this, and when people are in need, they come out and they support them.
So great to see that. You bought 50-50 tickets. I don't think that you were a winner on those, so big bummer for you, huh?
I did not. No, the section of numbers that I had, I believe. Brian Nestor won. I think that was the section of numbers, and then I think Brian donated, if not all of it, most of it back.
Good
to the families, which was cool.
All right, right before we came on the air, two schedules fully released now by racetracks that had teased a couple of dates. Rich, did you get a chance to see these?
That depends on what you're.
Well, Merritt Speedway and Tri-City Motor Speedway released their schedules today.
So I did see the Merritt Speedway, and the one thing that stuck out, they're moving the Whittick up a little bit. No longer in August. They're going to do that like the I think the end of the third week of July.
End of the month of July 23rd through the 25th, the 38th annual Woodtick. All divisions will be racing those 3 days, the 2 days, July 24th and 25th. That opening day really is an IMCA special. That's a Fast Shafts qualifier day with factory stock special and late model practice. And then the 24th and 25th, those will be full race nights. Opening night, May 16th, we already kind of knew that. Memorial Day weekend will be the Pine Sports Bar weekend on May 23rd and 24th. And then just a lot of regular race nights, which is okay. And then a new event that was added, the Joe Wood Memorial for the factory stocks. That'll also include the Great Lakes Lightning Sprints. We heard at the MSPA meeting that this is a nod to one of Mike's brothers who passed away over this off season. So great to see that. But other than that, Rich, pretty straight up for Merritt this season. A Run What You Brung on August 29th, and then the championship night will be on Saturday, September 5th.
Yeah, one of the later schedules to come out that we've been reviewing, and everybody was wondering, a lot of questions, but glad to see pretty solid schedule, and Woodtick's still on there. That's a cool deal too.
Tri-City Motor Speedway releases their full schedule of events. Couple of notices that we didn't have during the special events. $10 grandstand night with Bomber Special, $500 to win. That's July 10th. Mid-season championships, June 26th. Street Stock Special, August 7th for $1,000 to win. Power Wheels Night and B-Mod Special, $1,000 to win on August 21st. And then Season Championship Night on Friday, September 4th. Late models, B-Mods, Pure Stock, Street Stocks, the whole gamut. And then a TBA on Saturday, September 5th, which I think if I look at somebody else's touring schedule, there's a TBA for Saturday, September 5th as well. So I don't know. I don't know if those puzzle pieces go together or not.
I have no idea what touring series that would be, Zach. Would you?
I've got a clue, but there's clauses and disclaimers in effect,
right. You're not able to speak on that at this time.
That's right. Yes. No comment, I think is what I'm supposed to say.
Yeah.
Hey, big news from Winston Speedway this week, Rich. They confirmed their IMCA sanctioning for the modified division. That was something that we thought was coming, but we just weren't 100% sure. They confirmed that this week. IMCA modifieds will be back at Winston.
That kind of took a while to get that approval, didn't it? I thought they put in for that quite a while ago and just were waiting on the answer for that. And I'm glad it all worked out. Man, you can go, if you want to go IMCA modified racing in the state of Michigan, you now have options.
You have options. Winston Speedway joins Crystal Motor Speedway, I-96, Merritt, Mount Pleasant, Silver Bullet, and Thunderbird with the IMCA sanctioned support. And currently Mid-Michigan Raceway Park and Tri-City Motor Speedway run the IMCA style cars, but those are just listed as B-mods.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Some guys can stay at their home track and still get IMCA points, and it could get awfully interesting in the state of Michigan, couldn't it?
And the guys like to travel around too to try to get those points. So that's what I like, Rich, is you never know who is going to show up where when they think they've got a chance to win or gather some points. That's
a good point.
Intriguing part, right?
Right, exactly. There's not enough days in the weekend to go to all of them, but they can pick and choose, and not, if that's their goal to be in the points, then they can pick and choose on alternate weekends where they want to go. That's pretty cool.
Attica Raceway Park is set to open on Friday, Rich, and before they get things started, a format tweak was announced at the tail end of last week. The winner of the previous weekly race will start 6th in the following week's A-Main if it was a 2-heat race format. If it was a 3-heat race format, they will start 8th in that A-Main. These are just for the local Attica Raceway Park shows, Rich. The sanctioned races with the World of Outlaws, All-Star Circuit of Champions, Ironman Late Models, Attica John Boris Anniversary Special are not included in this format. Now, the details. The previous week's feature winner must make the redraw through their heat race, and money is on the line. If the driver that comes from the designated starting position, either 6th or 8th in the A-Main, wins, it's a $1,000 bonus for the 410 sprint cars, a $750 bonus for the late models, the Dirt Car UMP late models, and a $500 bonus for the 305 sprints. This, Rich, is a nod to back in the day when race fans remember that the previous week's feature winner had to start last in the following week's feature. Your thoughts on this new format?
I like it just because it makes them race in the heat race. It's not guaranteed. They can't just sit back in the heat race and run hot laps and expect to start 6th or 8th. They have to perform in the heat race. They have to be one of the top cars within the redraw. And then that your benefit is if you won the week before, you get to pass 5 or 7 cars if you want to win again. You're not going to start out front and win 2 weeks in a row.
Now, my question, and I didn't see if it was answered in this, is if you win again, does it just keep happening until you don't win?
I would expect so. If you won the week before, and you start 8th and then you win the next week, you won the week before.
That's right.
So
you're going back.
you still won the week before. So regardless, you still have to perform in your heat race. You still have to qualify well, and you still have to get into the redraw, or you will start wherever if you end up in a B main and you have to get in for some reason, that's where you'll start if you don't perform in the heat race.
Rusty Schlenk coming up next. He's our first featured interview of the night. Then in the middle sandwich spot, if you will, is the MadMax moment with Max Stambaugh and Zane DeVault, and then we'll have the nightcap with Dennis Strickland. That is all coming up. We have to take a break to get everything situated and get things set up. Stay right there. We'll be right back. You're listening to the Horsepower Happenings podcast on the Mark News Network.
Mark News is back. Michigan Area Racing Connection News keeps fans in the tri-state area up to date on national headlines, local results, regional news, and so much more. Home of the Horsepower Happenings podcast, 500 Sprintcast, Gridline Social, Job Bank, Fastlane Images, KG Media, and so much more. MarkNews.org is the one stop for any race fan who needs to know what's going on in the Michigan area. Plus, get the Mark News weekly newsletter sent right to your inbox, FREE free. Sign up today and learn more at marknews.org. Marknews.org, the Michigan Area Racing Connection.
The 4th annual Bob Finley Memorial is Saturday, May 9th at Owasso Speedway, featuring outlaw super late models racing for over $20,000 to win. Plus, each lap leader gets a bonus. Open wheel modifieds, trucks, and mini wedges are also in action. And race fans, it's autograph night. Get a chance to meet and get an autograph from the region's best drivers. Advanced tickets to the 4th annual Bob Finley Memorial are now on sale at OwassoSpeedway.com. The 4th annual Bob Finley Memorial, Saturday, May 9th at Owasso Speedway.
KG Media is your home for all things photography, race day social media, and more. Cody Geyer brings more than a decade of experience working with the top brands in short track racing. From individual photos to full race days, social media to PR, KG Media can make your race team, race track, or touring series stand out. For more information, go to marknews.org or visit KG Media on Facebook.
The Horsepower Happenings podcast is Michigan's short track racing authority. For nearly a decade, Horsepower Happenings has given race fans a chance to hear directly from their favorite drivers, local track owners, and promoters. Horsepower Happenings is the only podcast keeping fans engaged with Michigan area racing for 52 weeks a year. Don't miss the Horsepower Happenings podcast live on Facebook every Monday night at 6:30 and available everywhere you enjoy podcasts. Visit horsepowerhappenings.com and follow on Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube.
This place completely fills up for the little 500 people from all over.
Here comes Jake Schrader at number 29. How about that? He will be the bridesmaid no more. Bobby Santos is going to pick up the win.
Oh, trouble already.
Wow. Trouble over at turn 4. 2 to go. Cody Swanson is there.
There goes Roaring. Back-to-back champion. Tyler Roaring wins.
I guess tonight I was a sprint car guy.
Welcome back to the Horsepower Happenings podcast. Time for our review of the night. This one's brought to you by Independence Heating and Cooling. It's our pleasure to welcome in the Jackson McClure, I don't know where he's at now, driver, Rusty Schlenk. What's going on?
How's it going, guys? I think we're back to the Jackson Assassin finally.
I was going to say, man, and Rusty, I got to tell you, Rich goes, tell me again why we're having Rusty on the show. I said, I don't know where he's going. I said, I don't know what he's doing or where he's going. So,
Rusty, I was in Florida for 2 weeks on vacation. I thought I missed you racing somewhere. I felt bad about that.
That's fair. That's fair. So, and actually, I was on the phone today with somebody who said, now, I didn't even realize that Rusty was from Michigan. They've only known you as from McClure, Ohio. So this is, I mean, let's be honest, this is a big change for you. What leads you back to Michigan, my friend?
I mean, this is where I grew up. We decided to come back home and get my dad. My dad wanted to get more involved with karters racing. We didn't have much help down in McClure, down in Ohio where we were at. Everybody kind of moved away from us that we had helping down there, so we didn't have much help in the shop. And I wanted to get my dad involved in the business a little more, and I wanted to build bigger. My biggest thing was I needed space, so we decided to sell everything in Ohio, which we're still working on, trying to get that place sold, and then using that money to build up here on my dad's property where we grew up. Well, I guess it's my property now, but it's the property that my dad's owned my whole life, where I grew up my whole life. So we came back here and built a big pole barn, and we're going to put some living quarters in it and hopefully have a little more space.
It's a big decision to move as a family in the first place, but in your time in McClure, not only did you have Rusty Schlenk Racing, but then you launched Domination, race cars while you're down there. How big of a decision or how big of a factor is that, your business, in this decision to move?
That was the hardest part, man. I've acquired so much stuff with the business, machinery and tools and supplies. I mean, we spent all day yesterday loading up tubing, and I've been all day today building a tubing rack to hang it on the wall here in the new shop. So I've got a long night ahead of me of trying to get tubing hung on the wall before it rains tomorrow. So that was the hardest part. Moving the household isn't a problem. We've been living up here in Jackson actually since Carter started school. We knew we were moving up here, so we wanted to get living here. We built some rooms in my dad's in the basement where we grew up. It's got a full basement, so we finished some rooms down there. We've been living down there while we build. So we've been living up here since August or July, I guess, end of July, beginning of August.
And you guys down there, you would just put a lot of money into building that shop down there where you kind of got it the way you wanted it, even expanded a little bit to give you more room.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't put a ton of money into it. We had we added on. I had a 30 by 48 was the original structure, and we added 32 feet to the front of that. So it wasn't huge. It was a 40 by 80. I mean, it wasn't enough to run a full chassis shop plus work on Carter's car and customers' cars at the same time. I was out of space. I didn't have. We were going to add on down there. There wasn't really a good place to do it. The way the land was down there, we had 8.5 acres, but there just wasn't a good place to put a barn. It just made more sense to come up here. My dad's got 10 acres here that we took over the property from him, and we got all sorts of room to build and expand. And if Domination decides to take off big one day, I got 10 acres to build it as big as I want.
So what I think is cool. So you talked about all the reasons that you went up there. How's the chief cook and bottle washer feel about moving back home?
Man, it was her idea to. She really talked me into it. I knew. I don't want to say this. I don't know how to say this in the politest way possible. But
when have you ever tried to be tactful?
Yeah, Tim Wilbur just texted me. He said, "Plus Ohio sucks." I don't disagree with that.
That a boy, Timmy.
No, she didn't think. She just sees the end of the project because the husband takes care of all the big projects. So she just sees the end of the project like, ooh, look, I got a shiny new house. She didn't. I don't think she took into consideration all the hours of moving and building and rearranging and stuff that I would have to do. So. She's seeing it now. I dreaded it forever. I'm like, man, do you know what kind of process this is going to be? And her and my dad just kept telling me, oh, it's no big deal. We'll get it done in a couple days. Well, here we are 8 months later, and I'm still I'm still working in a half-done shop, and it looks like I'm in a prison cell right now. So,
are those your cars back there? You and the boys?
That's Carter's over there. These are customers. That's Herb Reich, and that's Roman Brown.
Cool. What is, one of the things about McClure, Ohio, if you had to find a reason to say that it was okay, Tim, is you were at least a little bit closer to what was happening in Kentucky, Tennessee, things of that nature. You kind of become a regular with the Ironman American Late Model Series. Does this change what you do as a race car driver, or what happens now?
Not really. I mean, I've kind of ran the same schedule and the same racetracks my whole life anyway, even living up here. So I moved about an hour and a half north. Our race shop, though, where Tyler, my car owner, where he keeps the car is in Wauseon. It's right by Oakshade. So regardless of where I live, the car hasn't moved. It's still leaving from the racetrack from the same place it has for the last 10 years. So Carter and I'll have to drive a little farther in his hauler, but it just depends on where we're going. But no, it's not going to change too much. I don't know. We haven't really made up our mind what we're doing for a schedule yet. We've kicked around a couple different things. I don't know. Obviously, I'll probably still run a lot of the Ironman deal if I don't run the whole thing. But as of right now, I don't. We're so busy. I don't see myself running the full schedule. They're they got it the way they've got it. There's too many nights where I've got to take off and drive. I got to drive down to Atomic for one night and then come home, or drive down to Eldora for one night and come home. It's just kind of it's going to be a struggle for me a little bit while we're trying to move and build things up here. So I don't know if we're going to commit to the whole thing this year or not. I haven't really made my mind up. We've kicked around doing the Hell Tour, talking about possibly doing. Yeah, if we do it, we'll try to do the whole thing. We've talked about possibly doing that. And the other option that we haven't gave up on yet is possibly the comp cams deal.
So I got a question. We've been watching the last several years, watching Carter and Colin grow up in this sport, right? And man, have they gotten real good, right? Real quick. Any of that going to take away from what you do? Because they want to be in fast race cars every week.
Oh yeah, no, we built Carter a new car this year. He's actually getting another one built. He was in a fresh, brand new race car for the Dome. So he had to set out most of the summer last year. Unfortunately he's not Kid Rocket, so he doesn't he doesn't have unlimited budget in race cars. He can't just race every week. But he had the Hell Tour didn't treat him very well. So unfortunately his dad don't own a big chassis company, so we had to set him out most of the year in order to save some money and build him a new car and make sure he's set up good to race this year. Because and he's good about it. I mean, he understood. He would rather. He's pretty smart. He's seen what I do my whole life, so he knows what it costs. He knows what it takes, and he was willing to sit out a couple months at the end of last season in order to start this year a little with fresher equipment. So.
How cool was that? I think it was a couple of years ago when he got that heat race win at the Dome.
That was awesome, man. That was probably the coolest moment of my life. I've won some big races and done stuff that most people would dream of around here. And I'll tell you, watching your kid win, it will by far beat all of that.
I want to take a quick break and say thank you to our sponsor, Independence Heating and Cooling, Southern Michigan's Bryant dealer. Right now with Independence Heating and Cooling, if you get a full home furnace, and trust me, I know how nice it is today. Look at next week's schedule. All right, look at the forecast for next week. It's going to be cold again. So if you do a home furnace replacement, you'll get a Wi-Fi in-home thermostat for free. All you have to do is mention the Horsepower Happenings podcast when you call 517-425-0224. That's 517-425-0224. You can also visit them online at ihcpros.com. Independence Heating and Cooling, Southern Michigan's Bryant dealer. Bryant, whatever it takes. This schedule that you talk about that you've been putting together typically includes some time at Attica Raceway Park. You going to make it Friday if they go, or what?
That's our plan. We depending on what the weather looks like, we're kind of tentative. We may end up there. We may end up at Brownstown Saturday. We've kicked that around. We've also talked about possibly running out to the MLRA deal out in I think they're in Springfield, Missouri. They got a couple nights out there. So we got a whole bunch of stuff that we redesigned this winter and changed around on the race car that I need to get tested before we really get in the swing of things up here and get into the. So
you actually want to be trying to race this weekend for customers,
yeah,
really?
We tried last weekend. We were actually going to go down. We were going to try to test on Thursday night, and we're going to go down Friday and run in Alabama with the Southern All-Stars and in Georgia. I think it was North Georgia on Saturday, but they ended up getting rained out on Saturday, so we didn't go down because it looked like rain.
Okay, fair enough.
You know what I think? What I think is cool, Rusty. Zach and I both love Attica, right? We think we've been there. They put on outstanding shows, you guys, and even the sprint cars, right? But man, They are so optimistic about trying to be the first one out early. And I don't remember the last time they got through March and actually got a show in. It's been a few years, hasn't it?
Yeah. Every once in a while we'll sneak one in March, but generally they're fighting a swamp and some snow usually the first couple of weeks. So I don't know. It was looking good, but I think the rain might be sneaking back in again for this weekend. So I'm not really too optimistic on it because every time I get my hopes up at the beginning of the year, they end up getting canceled because of the weather. But
what are your thoughts on the new format at Attica? Have you seen that?
Man, sitting on the other side of the fence from where I'm at, I love it. But on my side of the fence,
as a guy who won a lot of races there last year,
I absolutely hate it because we started out the season. I think we won 4 or 5 straight there. So it's gonna make it a little harder on us to show up every week. And I mean, honestly, it kind of, for guys like me that aren't running there for points, there's gonna be nights I think it's gonna deter me. I mean, if I've won the week before, and you know what I mean, and I know the next week is just a local, you know what I mean, whatever it is, 1,500 or 2,000 to win show, and I know I have to start eighth, it may, you know what I mean, it may push me to go to a different race where you know what I mean, where I know I've got a shot of starting up front. So,
and the thing about it is you have to redraw, like you have to finish well. It's not like you could show up and sandbag your heat race and still get to start eighth. You still got to work for it.
Yeah. I mean, I know why they did it. I'm not mad at them for doing it by any means. It's definitely going to make, you know, I mean, the fans are going to love it. It's going to put on a show. I mean, it's going to make the TV ratings go up for sure. Dirt Vision will love it. So, yeah, I'll be honest. It's probably going to deter me from going there maybe once or twice if I know that I won the week before, and I have to start eighth, and I know there's something else that we're kicking around going to. It's probably going to make it an easier decision for where I'm going to go that night. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not against what they did.
But outside of the guy, and it could be you or anybody else, right? It could be Devin Shields. You never know. But whoever's going to start eighth or sixth, depending on how many cars they have, really the only guy that it's worse for is the guy that's got to start there that won the week before, because for the fans, the TV, everybody watching, now the winner's not going to come from the first or second row. It could not.
Right. Yeah. And Attica, man, Attica is one of the hardest racetracks nowadays on a local schedule, as far as cars. I mean, that's my biggest thing is, it's going to be hard to win from eighth at that place. I mean, there's been nights that I start, you know what I mean, I can start seventh or eighth and have the fastest car on the racetrack, and I only make it to fourth or fifth because there's 8 good cars in front of me that, you know what I mean, that can win the race. If you put Markham and Shields and Missler and Drown and Kyle Moore and, you know what I mean, Colin, you know what I mean, there's just so many. Noonan, I don't even know where to stop. There's so many good cars that can win. Mikey Bors, there's just Todd Brennan runs there quite a bit. He's fast. It's going to be tough.
And then you got the guys who just decide to drop in when there's not anything going on.
Right. Yep.
All right. What is the chassis business like for you right now? Last time we really talked about it, you know, we were talking a little bit about modifieds. You had the late model thing going. What are you doing right now? What's the latest and greatest thing at Domination?
Well, I've kind of slowed down a little. I haven't been pushing everything because I know I've been trying to make this move. So I've only been pushing it a little here and there and trying to get, just trying to take care of the customers that I already have. I had to build a few new cars for returning customers this winter. Had one go to Indiana. I had one go to Minnesota. I've got a couple that stuck around here. So I've just been focusing on taking care of those guys for now until I get this move completed, because 10 hours of my day has been trying to build shelving and trying to get things moved up here and move things back and forth. And I've only been able to focus a few hours a day on the actual business. So once I get moved up here again, we'll be back full swing and
gonna be back gangbusters again.
Yeah, I really want to make a run at the IMCA deal. I feel like we got a pretty decent IMCA car. I want to try to get one of those, and now that I'm up here in Michigan, I'd like to be able to get myself one and be able to run around Michigan a little bit and try to promote these things. So,
well, that. So actually, I was going to move. I know, Rich, you got something, but this was one of the Facebook questions I was going to move into. Is everybody knows how much you love Butler Motor Speedway, and Michael wants to know if there's a mod going to be built for Rusty to run down at Butler every once in a while.
That is always my plan. It's going to be a little bit. I don't know if it'll happen this year, but now that I'm back up here in Michigan, I mean that's one of the things I see on the radar is to try to have a modified sitting here where if we get rained out, there's quite a few times. I think we ended up at Butler 3 or 4 Saturdays last year when we got rained out and didn't have anything to do. So I went up there and helped a couple customers and just tried to make an appearance and support the track. I love everything that Tim and their whole family has done up there, man. They're awesome people, and they have definitely turned that thing around 180 degrees. That racetrack, the facilities are awesome. The racetrack's been great. So I want to support them as much as possible. And I've been bugging Tim to get some more late model shows up there. Now that I'm back in this neck of the woods, I'd like to race there a little bit more.
We got 3 of them at a sprint car track, brother. What more could you ask for?
Yep. I feel you. But hey, that wasn't a sprint car track to me, man. I grew up there with late models every week. I raced late models there for years when I was younger. So
what was that back in 09, I think is when the late models got booted, or 10, somewhere in there?
Yeah, I think it was like 07 or 8. I think they ended up getting out of there full time, but I know like 04, 5, 6, 7. We raced there quite a bit when they had the weekly late model stuff.
Yeah. Rich, I know you had something, and then I want to go to the Facebook stuff.
Yeah. I was just curious. You talked about kind of having the same type of schedule you've run in the past, but have you sat down and put some check marks and some boxes around some of the big events that you're targeting this season?
Not really. Honestly, what I would really like to do, is run the. I'd really like to run that comp cams deal. Like I said, I just don't see. ALMS has like 30 some races this year, and there's just the way the schedule is. It's just going to be hard for us to with Carter racing and Carter's in sports, and I'll have to miss a lot of Carter stuff in order to run the full ALMS deal. So if I don't run the comp cams deal, I'll probably run a lot of the ALMS, not the whole thing. But man, I don't know if you guys have seen the comp cams payout in what they're offering for show up money and stuff like that. But that deal, it's pretty far from us. But the way their schedule is, I think it's only like 13 weekends, and they've got them back to back pretty good. So travel wise, it's worth it to drive that far for a couple 10,000 to win races. It's 50,000 to win the points. They give it's like $500 show up money for each weekend for the drivers in the top 10. So I mean, it's just a really good deal.
I know if Ryan Sutter's watching, he wants me to ask if you're going to make it to their big show at Montpelier. What is that, April 10th? I think it is.
I know, I always, if it's UMP sanctioned, I try to be at Montpelier at every race they have.
I think it is. It's whatever James Essex deal is.
Yeah, so I don't think James's stuff is UMP sanctioned.
Oh, really?
Yeah, James is he's a Lucas Oil guy, so he doesn't. I don't think him and UMP get along very well.
Okay, all right,
yeah,
fair enough.
I've got to look into that. If it's UMP sanctioned, there's a good shot we'll be there. But unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be UMP sanctioned because I don't think any of James' races are.
Okay. Matt wants to know, and by the way, Matt, send me an email or a text message back, buddy. Been trying to get a hold of you. Will Carter be tagging along on your schedules, Rusty, or will he have his own deal?
Well, if it's up to Carter, he'll run every race I do. The kid wants to be at every race he can, and he wants to. He wants nothing to do with the local shows. He wants to be with mixing it up with the big boys with Dad. So he wants to try to run all the big if we run ALMS, he'll do that. The Iron Man, if we do comp cams, I'm sure he'll try to do most of that. And if we end up doing the Hell Tour, he'll want to do. He's already told me if I do the Hell Tour, he's like, I'm doing the whole thing, Dad. I don't know how we're going to pull that one off. That's going to require some help from some buddies and some sponsorship to make that happen. But
I'll tell Carter he's got to hit the streets, man.
Yeah, he's going to have to pull in some sponsorship for that deal because that's a big chunk to bite off there.
Rusty, somebody wants us to let you know that Jersey is tuned in.
What's up, Jersey?
All right, so there's that. Christopher points out Hartford Motor Speedway's got a big show coming up this summer. Is that one you'll try to tackle in July?
Like I said, I don't know. But obviously any of these Michigan races, anytime there's a big show in Michigan, I try to hit it. So it's definitely on the list of wants. If we're not busy and and nothing's going on with any sort of point schedule, then yeah, we'll definitely try to hit that show.
Zach and I were just talking about before you came on the air with us. We were waiting on the last schedule to come out for Merritt Speedway, and I know that place holds a special place in your heart with the wood ticks that you got there. How does it feel that it's not what it was when you were winning those races?
Man, it's definitely heartbreaking because I loved that facility. The track always raced good. I feel like some of the best races I've ever been part of have taken place there. I mean, I know there's been its ups and downs with getting paid and this and that, and they seem to always make it right. But I know there's been some controversy there over the last couple of years. But as far as the racing surface itself, man, I've always enjoyed running Merritt. I get along with that place pretty good for some reason, and obviously two of my biggest wins ever have came there.
Last one from the Facebook thing, although I do like Tim's question. He says that you'll know which track has the best chili dog. But if you want to, we can sit on that one. But this one is a good one. Charles wants to know if there's still one race that you want to win that you haven't checked off the list yet.
No, God, there's way more than one.
Okay.
Yeah, shoot. The biggest one that I want is the Dome. Gateway Dirt Nationals is top of my list.
I kind of thought you'd go World 100 on me.
Man, I'm not a fan of Eldora. I never really have been. I'm a bull ring kind of racer. I like the little short tracks. I'm not a super speedway racer.
Sure. I get it.
Don't get me wrong. Would I love to win the world or the dream? Of course. I mean, who wouldn't?
I don't think Danny's going to let you go back to Eldora anyhow. Every time you go there, something dramatic happens.
The place about killed me last year. It's about killed me twice, 2 or 3 times now, actually. So, no, it's just not one of my favorite places. I don't know. I grew up on bull rings. I love bull rings. The big tracks just aren't my cup of tea. I don't get along with them as good as I do the little tracks. When you crash at a little track, you can piece your stuff back together and go race the next night. When you wreck at Eldora or something like that, it's just you're done for the season, and or at least for a couple weeks. I mean, we trashed our good car there last year, so we pretty much had to finish the year out on a car that was, we either had to build a new car in a hurry or finish the year out on an old car. So it's just I don't know. We don't have the budget to run there. That place, you've got to go to Eldora and run good. You've got to not care about your equipment. You have to know that you can junk it at any time. And that's just not me.
Yeah, it's tough for a low budget guy, and I know some people will scoff at me saying that, but you're a guy that tries to build his own stuff. So I think that's appropriate. Hey, we got to go. We could keep talking for another 20 minutes or a half hour. You got work to do. We got work to do. I do want to give you an opportunity to shout out those sponsors, though. That car always looks really good with everybody on the side of it.
Yeah, thanks, man. I'm sure I'm going to forget somebody. I don't have the car here in front of me, so I can't read it off like I try to cheat. But Buckeye Concrete Coatings, Tyler, he owns the thing. He busts his butt every week to make sure that thing's ready. If I don't have time to get down there and work on it, he's always got it prepared and ready to go, so I can focus on my business. Him and all his guys, they're without them guys, I couldn't do it. Terry Hendricks Automotive, they've been a huge help. Unfortunately, Terry passed away in a plane crash. I don't know if everybody knows about that, but he's been one of our major sponsors for the last few years. And I think at 81 or something, 81 years old, he crashed his plane in the fall and ended up passing away. So we're gonna miss the hell out of him, but they're still on board with us for next year. So huge thanks to the Hendricks family. VP Race Fuels, obviously Domination Race Cars. I got to throw them in there. I don't like to thank myself, but I got to try and plug it if I can. Integra Shocks has been huge for us. Landrum Springs, Dominator Race Products, Willie's Carburetors. Man, just everybody that helps on this thing. I know I'm forgetting some people, but Velocita Fire Suits. I can't forget them guys. They've been a huge help to us too.
Rusty, appreciate it, man. You always take the call when we ask, and looking forward to it. Hopefully, Mother Nature changes her mind and we see you Friday at Attica.
Oh, thanks, guys. Are you guys coming down? Are you going to be there?
Well, I haven't got it cleared with the warden yet, but it's on my schedule.
It's not so far for me. I'm about half the distance Zach is, so I can get there pretty quickly.
Solid maybe.
Nice. Well, thanks for having us on, guys. Sorry to disappoint you that I was the guest tonight, Rich.
That was not what I said. That's not what I said.
We'll take a break. When we come
Rusty.
back, Max Stambaugh, Zane DeVault coming up next. This is the Horsepower Happenings podcast on the Mark News Network.
The Horsepower Happenings podcast is Michigan's short track racing authority. For nearly a decade, Horsepower Happenings has given race fans a chance to hear directly from their favorite drivers, local track owners, and promoters. Horsepower Happenings is the only podcast keeping fans engaged with Michigan area racing for 52 weeks a year. Don't miss the Horsepower Happenings podcast live on Facebook every Monday night at 6:30 and available everywhere you enjoy podcasts. Visit horsepowerhappenings.com and follow on Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube.
This place completely fills up for the little 500 people from all over.
Here comes Jake Schrader at number 29. How about that? He will be the bridesmaid newborn. Bobby Santos is going to pick up the win.
Oh, trouble already. Wow. Trouble over at turn 4. 2 to go. Cody Swanson is there.
Here goes Rory. Back-to-back champion Tyler Rourke wins.
I guess tonight I was a sprint car guy.
Mark News is back. Michigan Area Racing Connection News keeps fans in the tri-state area up to date on national headlines, local results, regional news, and so much more. Home of the Horsepower Happenings podcast, 500 Sprintcast, Gridline Social, Job Bank, Fastlane Images, KG Media, and so much more. MarkNews.org is the one stop for any race fan who needs to know what's going on in the Michigan area. Plus, get the Mark News weekly newsletter sent right to your inbox, FREE free. Sign up today and learn more at marknews.org. Marknews.org, the Michigan Area Racing Connection.
KG Media is your home for all things photography, race day social media, and more. Cody Dyer brings more than a decade of experience working with the top brands in short track racing. From individual photos to full race days, social media to PR, KG Media can make your race team, race track, or touring series stand out. For more information, go to marknews.org or visit KG Media on Facebook.
Welcome back to the Horsepower Happenings podcast. Hey, this is going to be something, and it always is when we get these two in the room together. It's time for the MadMax moment presented by Williams Seal Coating and Paving. Max Stambaugh, what's going on, my friend?
Yeah, Monday back in the semi. Actually got a race a little bit since you talked to me. So, went down to Milton, Florida, and then we ran Loxley, Alabama. So, 4th, 5th, 6th, and a 6th. So, feel like we're, okay start to the year. And I think it's pretty cool to see a lot of the guys in our region down there. Zane had a second. Van Gurley's had a couple top fives, and Corbin Gurley's been really fast. So I think
Corbin's
our
been
region's
good too, yeah.
Yeah, region.
Isn't it pretty bad when you finish in the top 10 and people are wondering what's wrong with the program?
Yeah, you wanted to go there already. Yeah, so it was a long ride home, but we're okay. I'm excited to get things rolling.
All right, we already know who this is, obviously, but for those who don't, why we're having Zane DeVault on? This is exciting times, man, and you've been through it, Max, as a driver, and when you don't know, and then when something comes through, it's pretty exciting. So tell us what's going on.
Yeah, so obviously it's been pretty quiet this winter for Zane. He's a good buddy of mine, and I don't think he knew what direction he was going to end up, where he was going to land, and things come together at the right time for him. So wanted to get him on the show. Definitely me and Zach did. Rich probably did too. He's good for the show. So Zane, what's going on? The new year, new me type thing. How's that working out for you?
It's going pretty good. Just a little upset that, we were supposed to go to Mississippi together and hang out, but, couldn't get the band back together, I guess.
Yeah, the band's still working a little bit. So we'll try next time. But, so you get this deal with Rocky. Let's get right into it real quick and give an update on what you got going now before we go, through the old stuff. So you put this deal together and you guys go to Mississippi. You've raced with Sean in the past. He's your crew chief again. You got Rocky as a car owner. You got your tire guy, AJ. Sean's got his buddy Yoder. How was this first weekend racing?
It was pretty good. I mean, obviously, like you said, me and Sean have had some success before and everything. So it's like riding a bike. Once you kind of have a notebook and everything works, it was kind of nice to kind of get back to that. Kind of change of pace, though. Obviously, as it's like anything, getting a new job or anything. The first day, it's a little nerve-wracking. Just learning new formations and new sequences of how things happen with new people and everything. So, but it worked pretty good. I worked with AJ off and on for the last 2 or 3 years, and me and him really connected, through those years and did really good. And I knew me, AJ, and Sean would do good because, our first race really together, we won actually in Lane Racing's car way back at Atomic. So I knew that would kind of work out, and Yoder's a treat, and he definitely brings smiles and jokes to to the racetrack. So it's always a good laugh with him there too.
So let's, I guess, talk about how this thing come together, and I'll kind of piggyback with what Max said, that, I don't want to get to the old stuff right away, but whatever, it happens. You find yourself in a spot where you need to pick up a ride for this year. And this off season has been kind of tumultuous, man. We've heard that this is going to happen, then it doesn't. Then we hear this is happening, and it does happen. How do you and Rocky link up, and how does this deal come together?
I think way back first time I ever met Rocky, we sat there and joked and cracked up and laughed about a lot of things. And, I think that, there's just a lot of chemistry between me and Sean, obviously back in the day. So that kind of came back, and we were talking and kind of just seeing, what was going on, checking in with Sean, and he kind of said that, there was some rumors that Keith was leaving the deal and everything. And I didn't really know what I was doing. And we talked here and there, me, Rocky, and him. And finally, once I kind of knew what, I guess wasn't happening, I obviously had to make a move, and it went together pretty quick. There was a lot of things with their team that, obviously they have Danny Sams and everything. They have a national touring team that they have a lot of moving pieces on that deal. And this deal was kind of getting off the ground to where it's going to be more than just the weekend here and there racing, to where it's going to be a pretty big schedule. So we had a couple meetings. Me and Rocky actually talked last year about me possibly doing some 360 racing with them, kind of fill in the schedule and doing the 4 Crown with a 360 in his car and doing the 410 in the lane racing. So kind of always kept in touch with them. And then I kind of knew that's where I kind of wanted to land once some of the other things kind of extinguished their opportunities to where I could work with them. And so everything kind of worked together and worked out, and their sights and goals kind of met up with mine. And we got together and kind of made a game plan. And we all kind of all agreed that we wanted to do a long-term deal and try to achieve those goals that we want to do.
When we talked to you last time on the show, I made it a point to follow you last summer, and I can't believe you don't have a big smile on your face. Man, you had some awesome performances and had some great race cars throughout 2025.
Yeah, really, I think we had really good cars all year long. I almost got Max's first win as a crew chief at Wayne County, and but then I also think I almost gave Max's first heart attack also in the same night. And we were fast all year. It just I think there was a lot of times I had bad draws, or kind of stacked up things against us, or this or that, or cautions didn't fall on the right time. Just there's so much things in racing where you can qualify good and have a bad rest of the night, or you can qualify bad and have a great night at the end of the night. And it takes a whole package. You gotta be good at the beginning from when you unroll that car out of the door. So I don't know. It's tough. Obviously around the All-Stars last year and everything, the competition, everything's definitely tough night in, night out. And, we went and raced some outlaw races and some high limit races and everything. And, I guess we didn't really cherry pick. We didn't go race a smaller venue to try to go win anything. And, the year before we won some 360 races and everything, and beat the king of 360s over here. And man,
had
some fun doing that.
Max is taking a beating tonight.
Stambaugh's gonna be catching strays all night, isn't he?
I'm getting beat at home man on here. But, so let's back up to 2022. You get the ride in the Nefco 14, right? I was in the car when it was number 5 the year before. I take a little credit on getting you guys hooked together, but you get right off on, and you guys have a good year. and then next thing you know,
And
you
this
get
is
the
with
offer.
Sean, right? This is with
Yeah.
Sean.
Just so
Yep.
you know, I'm waiting for the punchline. This is where I'm going to get my punches back in.
So
I'm waiting for it.
So no, you go in and then you get hooked up with Lane Racing, right? You go to Atomic and you win, and you go out and you didn't just win by a little bit, you won by a lot. You were really good that night. And then the following year, you guys tackle the fast deal with outlaw races and high limit shows and racing wherever you want. And I don't remember the exact number of wins you guys had, but really felt like you guys had a really good year. Second in fast points. You guys were racing a lot of races. And then you come back this year and, everyone's like, oh, well, people like Zach brought up earlier, your biggest fans are telling you, well, you had an off year. Well, I tell everybody, Lane Racing got third in all-star points and, damn near made the Kings Royal, right? And really felt like they were just as fast as the year before. What's it like going into New Deal when you have success, in a car for a couple, 2.5 years with Brett Lane and Lane Racing, and now it's like, man, it's a new day. I'm the new quarterback of this football team. What's that like?
Yeah, I think as you were a quarterback at your football team in high school, you kind of, it's kind of like one of them bad teams or bad nights, right? Like where everyone kind of comes in and you gotta lift them up, right? You gotta kind of make sure everything's on the same page and be the backbone. And I'm not saying I'm the backbone of this deal at all by any means. I'm kind of along for the ride for a new journey and it's it's paying off. I think with Sean really, he knows his stuff on track for the car and everything, and he's good in the shop. And obviously we're trying to get him in the shop more and everything as much as he can. And he's working a full-time job and everything still. And AJ trying to get him transitioned to get over here to Indiana because the shop's in Indiana now, and he's in Fremont, Ohio. So it's a lot of moving parts right now. It's definitely crazy. Rocky's, got a very successful business with Global Link going. And then, he's also got that, like I mentioned with Danny, he's busy with trying to get that deal rolling and everything for the second year of High Limits. So, I think it's refreshing, a new pace. But then at the same point, it's hard to kind of do this again type deal, right? You kind of had a good deal made up to where you knew you could go in and you knew what you had night in, night out. So it's a little nerve wracking every night, till you get comfortable. And I think the first weekend it was crazy. I really didn't feel uncomfortable at any point. We had fun. We kind of had like a couple buddies going out and going racing, and it was a good night. And I think that as long as we keep that mentality, which I know, the four guys that we got rolling up and down the road with us, it's going to say that. And I think it'll be good for 2026 and see what we can do in years to come. But you kind of know it is tough. Like when people say, man, you didn't win a race, you didn't lead any laps, you didn't do this. But you don't see that, not to bring money into it, but you look at the money side of things and how much more money we did bring in and the type of venues that you go to and you still run up front and you get in the dash of a World Outlaw race and you several top tens in high limit race and out of 410 stuff. And, that's where I guess I'm always looking ahead, right? I'm not looking at, I didn't win at a local show. And not that there's nothing against that, but I want to keep progressing and get to the top of the elite level. And if I can start racing better and placing better and doing better with them, that's where my focus is. And I don't really care if they think I'm not doing good or whatever. I guess they'll just either they'll support me and buy t-shirts or they'll quit. So it is what it is. But yeah.
Rich?
Zane, over the last year and a half and this off season and is this what we're going to be going to in sprint car racing? A lot of top-notch drivers not in the same seats anymore. Everybody's moving around. Nobody seems to be staying anywhere very long, and everybody's trying to get that next hot guy, right? And get the timing on that. Could this be where sprint car racing is going? And you're just not going to see anybody long-term, 4, 5, 6, 10 years in the same race car?
Man, I don't know. Me and Max talk a lot during the week and everything. And I think me and Max have talked a lot about this. Obviously, he kind of knew my situation and he's locked in a really good deal. But he's kind of been through this also, right? Like he's kind of always been the big brother mentor through my racing, since the first night I met him at the Four Crown, or it was at King's Royal, when I was there with my dad and everyone. But we kind of talked about, I don't know. I think it's just that time, that decade type deal. It's kind of up right now. You see Donnie Schatz go into another deal, Dason Pursley and Brad Sweet and everything. Man, I just feel like no one really wants to do this. This isn't fun. I mean, me and Max talked about it. You go through the winter and you're like, man, do I still really got what I had last year and everything? And, you go so long without racing, and it's pretty uneasy knowing you hit Christmas and New Year's and you don't have a ride yet. That's an uneasy feeling. Like that's not something that you wake up Christmas morning and you're like excited to, go spend time with family. You're sitting there thinking, man, am I going to find a ride? I need to get on the ball here. And things like that. So I think it's just that type of kind of year that everyone's kind of moving around. But I think obviously everyone wants to stay for a 5, 6, 7 year deal. I mean, you look at all the elites, you look at David Gravel, Donnie Schatz, Brad Sweet, all these guys that, they didn't really start having a lot of success till after 4 or 5 years of being together. And then boom, they start killing it, So I think obviously money plays a lot of these factors. You bring in a lot of money, you're probably going to get pushed out. You push someone out that doesn't have a lot of money, because it's expensive for these teams to keep going. And I think that has a lot to do with it. But I also think that once you finally find someone that can bring the money and the talent, teams try to make it a long-term deal, because they realize that after a 5 or 6 year deal, that's when you're really going to start winning huge races, and really be successful.
Real quick, before we get our next question in, I want to say thank you to our MadMax Moment presenting sponsor. Of course, Williams Seal Coating and Paving, new on board with the MadMax Moment. And if today was not a gentle enough reminder, I'll say it. Spring is right around the corner. Today may have been the day that you take a look at your parking lot, your driveway, whatever it is, and realize that it's in pretty rough shape. Holes, cracks, or you're just tired of putting back the stones. Call Williams Seal Coating and Paving and improve the appearance of your business or home with seal coating and striping. Williams Seal Coating and Paving can handle commercial and residential projects, whether it's a new pave, milling and repave, seal coating, or crack filling. Call Williams Seal Coating and Paving, 517-748-0490. That's 517-748-0490 for Williams Seal Coating and Paving. Max, got anything?
I guess I bet Zane didn't have on his bingo card that he was going to be teammates with, Danny Sams. What's that going to be like? Have you talked to Danny much? Are you going to be able to reach out quite a bit, see what he's got going on? He might reach out to you, see what you got going on. That's a pretty good deal to have a guy on the high limit tour in your back pocket for some info, ain't it?
And to build on that, do you guys share resources? How much do you guys actually get a chance to try to work with each other?
Yeah, we don't. We have 2 separate shops. They're about a half hour apart, but I haven't really seen them much. They're kind of trying to hurry around and get things done to where they can go run the high limit tour. Obviously our deal became kind of a last minute deal. So we're kind of scrambling around, trying to get cars together and everything, and finalize some deals to be able to make a good run at this season and really, make a dent in what we want to. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I haven't really, I think he came here the one day, some parts were here and we talked a little bit. But we've both been so busy. I don't know, I know, we're kind of good with our deal. So I don't know how much we're going to really rely on them or how much they would really rely on us. Obviously, he's been on the high limit tour and I haven't. He's going to hit a lot of racetracks that, I've never probably even thought about going to, that I would like to or whatever, but so I don't really have very much help for him there. But in the same aspect, you different driving styles, different crew chiefs, different that, different this. So, obviously motors play a big role into him. I've never drove the motors he's got and he's never drove the motors that I'm getting or whatever. So, it's kind of one of them things where, we might have a different feel or whatever, but I know there's probably some point we'll talk about tracks here or there, but I wouldn't say that it'd be very much.
All right, I got to kind of take control of this thing because the four of us could go for a long time. So I want to ask this question, and then I want to get into what's coming up. So my question is, when you decide to take this ride with Randerson Racing and with Rocky, are you looking at what they did last year with Keith behind the wheel and how fast that car was and the opportunities that they had? Like, are you examining that before you agree to this?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you kind of do your research and look at what you're going to get into or whatever. But I mean, I knew it was going to be good. Obviously, you at some point you've got a really good owner that backs a national touring team that isn't looking for like kind of what Rich said. He's not looking for the next new guy or whatever. He's I mean, I know Danny's Max. I mean, he raced with us for how long? And they've been loyal. So, that's a big thing where, you've got someone that's loyal. Me and Max have raced with Sean and he's very loyal, very driven, to win but also have fun, doing it. So, I talked to Sean here and there at some tracks when they were there and, they kind of used their shop actually over in Ohio a couple times and,
Heiser, I got one more for Zane. I
Okay.
got one more for him. You're going to have to check with Sean tonight when you're driving home, but I think I might have more wins with Sean than you got with him. So I just want you to sleep tonight with that, knowing that me and Sean, I think it's 11 or 12. So you got a little bit to catch up to me, but no, it's been very cool to have Zane on here. He's a really good buddy of mine. And to be honest with you, Rich, Zach, I think it's going to be a breakout year for the 14 car with Rocky and the resources they have. Zane's, he's a go-getter, man. He's a full-time gasser. I look for big things, for Zane DeVault.
Hey, I do got one thing to say about that. That's all right now. Let's remember this. Put this in the chat, Zach. Because next time at the end of the year when we're having this conversation again, you can you can put this clip in the thing of Max saying that, and then we'll do a retally on the check marks on how many wins I've got.
And where are these wins going to be coming from with brother? Do you know where you're going to be racing this year? What you're going to be doing?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think we're going to try and do a lot of the outlaw high limit stuff. Oh, look at Sam. Here we go.
We get to the meat and potatoes, and he's got to up show you. What is this?
I asked Max if he was going to ask me a question tonight. His questions are probably better than Max's. But
you can't mess with Max after seeing that now. Come on now.
Oh yeah. But no, I think we're going to try and run the high limit and outlaw stuff when they kind of come around here. Probably run some all-star races and everything, and maybe trickle in a couple of the bigger 360 races with you guys and everything, but maybe travel a little bit. We talked about going to some Power I races at I-55, maybe some IRA races and stuff like that. So kind of open schedule, but shooting to kind of get our feet wet and start traveling a little bit.
This was a question that's been put in here a couple of times in multiple different ways, and I'm assuming Rachel is the one that set us up for this. You two both became dads. So what has that been like? for you, Zane?
Yeah, it's been a rough road for me. I was not expecting to become a dad until April 8th. So I've been in the NICU. So it's been kind of hard. Been very busy and eye-opening, but Sam and Jensen will be best buds, and someday me and Max will be the crew chiefs, and Sam and Jensen will be on here talking about driving race cars, and me and Max will be in the background probably working all day and all night on the cars and paying for them. So, but yeah, it'll be fun.
The days of calling each other to talk about race setups and how to get around a racetrack are evolving, aren't they?
Yeah. We're gonna start making a notebook, and we're gonna have to combine because we're gonna have to probably go on the road. We're gonna have to get like a 2-car truck and trailer or something and start tag teaming races.
The days of taking melatonin are coming to an end too over here.
Well, I don't sleep very much as it is, so I'm sure me and Alyssa are gonna be up a lot, just like you and Rachel have been.
Yeah. Well, guys, I want to say thanks for making time to be on the show. Zane, good luck this year. I know it was kind of hard to get you to say it, but I am looking forward to seeing you at some GLSS races on top of all that 410 stuff you're doing. All right.
Yep, I appreciate it.
Max, you good luck over there. All right.
Yep. Yeah, it's good. Zane, good having you on here. Rich, Zach, it's been fun. We'll see everybody next month.
All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, our History Month segment with Dennis Strickland is coming up. That's straight ahead on the Horsepower Happenings podcast.
Mark News is back. Michigan Area Racing Connection News keeps fans in the tri-state area up to date on national headlines, local results, regional news, and so much more. Home of the Horsepower Happenings podcast, 500 Sprintcast, Gridline Social, Job Bank, Fastlane Images, KG Media, and so much more. MarkNews.org is the one stop for any race fan who needs to know what's going on in the Michigan area. Plus, get the Mark News weekly newsletter sent right to your inbox, FREE free. Sign up today and learn more at MarkNews.org. MarkNews.org, the Michigan Area Racing Connection.
The 4th annual Bob Finley Memorial is Saturday, May 9th at Owasso Speedway, featuring outlaw super late models racing for over $20,000 to win. Plus, each lap leader gets a bonus. Open wheel modifieds, trucks, and mini wedges are also in action. And race fans, it's autograph night. Get a chance to meet and get an autograph from the region's best drivers. Advanced tickets to the 4th annual Bob Finley Memorial are now on sale at OwassoSpeedway.com. The 4th annual Bob Finley Memorial, Saturday, May 9th at Owasso Speedway.
KG Media is your home for all things photography, race day social media, and more. Cody Geyer brings more than a decade of experience working with the top brands in short track racing. From individual photos to full race days, social media to PR, KG Media can make your race team, race track, or touring series stand out. For more information, go to marknews.org or visit KG Media on Facebook.
The Horsepower Happenings podcast is Michigan's short track racing authority. For nearly a decade, Horsepower Happenings has given race fans a chance to hear directly from their favorite drivers, local track owners, and promoters. Horsepower Happenings is the only podcast keeping fans engaged with Michigan area racing for 52 weeks a year. Don't miss the Horsepower Happenings podcast live on Facebook every Monday night at 6:30 and available everywhere you enjoy podcasts. Visit horsepowerhappenings.com and follow on Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube.
Welcome back to Horsepower Happenings. It's time for our final guest of the evening, Zach. And we were talking a minute ago, to say I've met this gentleman before would be an understatement. I think we've known each other and been friends for almost 30 years. That's why it was so cool that he was inducted into the Michigan Motorsports Hall of Fame in November. Dennis Strickland, welcome into Horsepower Happenings.
Well, thank you guys for having me. I was looking forward to this, and been probably a long time coming, getting on this show and chatting about racing with you guys.
Yeah, talk to me about when you found out last year. Dave DeHem tries to keep that stuff under wraps to everybody until it's his time to release it. How special was that when you got the phone call?
It was really, really cool. I actually was still in bed because I got the phone call so early in the morning. I was just sitting there watching TV, but I was still in bed, and the did not expect it like that. You know, I kind of knew that things were in the process and there was a possibility, but yeah, it was absolutely. I'll never forget that morning. That's for sure.
When that happens, and you kind of have, I mean, I wouldn't know, but I mean, you got to kind of have a reflection of your career after that, don't you? And just kind of sit back. I mean, we had a couple times where you said, Rich, I'm retiring after this year. And then next year you're in a late model again. And we bounced, we did that a couple years, but when you finally sat down, you heard the news, what was the reflection like over your career?
Well, when you think back, even I mentioned it in my acceptance speech at the banquet for the Hall of Fame. You know, you get into racing because you love the sport, and you don't really think about what can happen over a period of time. You know, all these years when you race, and you look back and you have accomplishments and championships and you know, wins behind you, and you don't even think about everything that's happened in the past until something like this happens. And it really, you know, you get looking, reflecting back, and all the memories, racing memories. I'm sure you have a lot of racing memories when you were in a car, and you'll just, you know, they stay with you for a lifetime. You'll never forget that.
And what I think is, I love that answer because, you, again, not to say exactly what you just said, but you don't realize that you're on a Hall of Fame pace, right? I mean, it doesn't ever really occur to you until you sit down and go, man, we had a good little team going here.
Yeah, I was putting together, compiling a list of accomplishments, and something that was on there that really kind of caught my attention, because you always remember the championships and the big feature wins that you have. But I finished second in late model points at Flat Rock 8 times. So when you look at that, all them years of being right up front, you know, it makes you proud, makes you, I mean, we spend a lot of money in this sport, there's no doubt. I often tell people I could have a house up north and a house in Florida, and but chose the race, and, you know, for the love of the sport, and, you know, you have memories that will be there forever.
So I want to go all the way back. And when you start your career in motorsports, what I think is great is a lot of people who are in the Hall of Fame, they're every which way, upside down, left, backwards, in and out of Michigan. You got started doing something different, but right at the racetracks that you would build much of your Hall of Fame career, and that was turning wrenches for somebody else. Talk about that.
Yeah, so I started out, well, I'll go back even further than that. Let's go back to my childhood. Came from a broken marriage, and I was 12 years old, and my mom met a gentleman, Les Hurd, who ended up being my stepdad. And he was into hunting and fishing and racing. And so he was a big fan at Flat Rock, Toledo, Mount Clemens. He went all over the place. And, you know, as a kid, he would take me to Toledo and Flat Rock Speedway. And I can remember sitting up in the stands at Toledo Speedway. Now this was back, you know, Bob Seneker, Ed Cooper, you know, a bunch of big names from back in the day, and sitting up in the stands and just thinking, man, I want to go down, you know, see what the cars look like up close and meet the drivers, and never even thought about eventually driving a race car and having success doing it. And that's kind of how it all started. And I met this guy. I took a gentleman, a friend of mine, for a ride in a hot Camaro that I had. And he said, you know, I got a guy that Overtrack races is kind of looking for a mechanic, Tommy Webb. And his brother, Larry Webb, drove back in the day too. And that's pretty much how I got started coming to the racetrack, was helping Tommy out. And I worked on his stuff for 3 years. He moved down south to take over his dad's business, who got ill, and didn't know if I could drive a lick. I bought a street stock from a dirt track racer up north to give you an idea of what the car was like. I bought the car turnkey with trailer for $1,400.
Oh, man.
Yeah. That was back in like 84. And so anyways, that was the beginning of me driving.
You know, I kind of thought about this, and I actually thought about this after you inducted, right? And because I've been around so long, right? I like you said, you know, if I wasn't racing, I still didn't know how to stay home from the racetrack. Now I'm working with Gary Lindahl, right?
Yeah.
But you know, I don't think you'll mind. I've known you long enough to know you wear your emotions on your sleeve, and for some reason, somebody put me in the right position when you won your Glass City 200 in 2013, and when Steve Needles won his finally. And those, I have to admit, with a microphone in my hand, two of the most emotional victory lanes I think I've ever been a part of. What did that really mean to you?
Oh, that Glass City 200. So I got out of the race car, thanking God, because I thought in my mind, I knew God had a hand to do with that race. And here's why. That race was easy for me to win. It's like all the cards played in my hand. Earl Bonner let me use a carburetor, a high dollar carburetor that he had to wake up my motor a little bit. And the way the race laid out, you know, it just kind of played in my hand. My car got faster as the laps went in, you know, so the car got better. And there was some, you know, like the Senecers and some of the big names, they had some trouble with, you know, obviously helped me to get in the front and stay there. But, and another thing that happened in hot laps, I was buying my shocks off of Butch Van Dorn. And so we were parked next to each other. And he wanted to revalve my shocks. So I took my shocks off. I gave them to him, the front shocks. And he went in the trailer. He came out. He said, Dennis, I ain't got everything I need to switch your shocks over. He says, here, take these shocks and put them on your car. So he gave me a set of shocks. And I put them on the car. I threw the bump stop package on it. I didn't have a lot of time. So I just kind of threw it together. I didn't spend a lot of time with the exact measurements and stuff like that, putting it all together. I get it on the car and we go out to hot lap, and holy mackerel, totally different race car. And I came in and I told my guys, I'm like, okay, we're in the hunt. And
if you touch this thing, I'll kill you.
Right. Yeah. We didn't touch the thing. Matter of fact, we put it on jack stands and we didn't go back out for another hot lap session, which, you know me, I never do that. I always try to tune, but the car was it just felt so good. And everything was so easy that night that, yeah, it was incredible. It was meant to be.
And I think a lot of it, not just you and your team and, you know, you and your wife down there, just everything that you guys were going through, but these were your fans from your racetrack. Nobody realizes there are very few local drivers from Flat Rock or Toledo that win that race. It's the guys from out of town, and you were able to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I told a lot of people, like the local racers, you know, as far as I'm concerned, I won that for the local guys, for our Flat Rock and Toledo guys, you know, because of that, because usually it brings in bigger names and, you know, better supported cars with more technology and money. And, you know, it's to run with them guys, you've done something. To beat them is just unheard of. So, yeah, it was really, really cool to do that. A couple things that happened, too, that I remember back on that is at Winter Circle. You're right. I was emotional. I couldn't stop crying. I'll just say it. But in Winter Circle, I remember getting my pictures taken. Usually there's a couple of photographers and you get your picture taken. Well, there was a circle of people taking my picture in front of the race car. And I was like, wow, I just could not believe it. You know, Monday morning, my phone's ringing off the hook with magazines calling me and, you know, radio stations doing interviews. And it was such a big deal.
Did you know that? Did you grasp that at the time? Did you think it was that big a deal? Because most everybody think the bigger the deal is the people watching it, and they'll tell you how big of a deal it is, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yes, I knew afterwards, you know, for sure, because all the attention I got. And yeah, it was something, you know, racing all these years, I have a lot of trophies. I think I got like 160 trophies, right? And championships and second, third, fourth, seventh place in championship points. You get a lot of hardware doing all that, right? Well, the Glass City 200 trophy, that's one of the only ones that's in the house. All the rest of them are out in the garage. So, that tells you it just means so much.
Obviously this career that you have, this Hall of Fame career built on Flat Rock and Toledo, but did you get out anywhere else much, or were you really dedicated to these two racetracks, or did you get out anywhere else?
Actually, so I drove for Wheelchair Robbie, which Rich knows who that is. I don't know if you know who that is. He's passed. He's left us. We don't have him no more. But I drove for him for several years, and we did an Iceman effort. And so Jennerstown, we raced all over the place. Wherever the Iceman series went, we went. And I got a lot of experience doing that off his efforts in racing, which I'll never forget that. And we also did take my Iceman template car that I had, and we went down to New Smyrna for that 7 nights of racing. And, big money teams down there doing that, right? Well, we made the show every night. And one night I sold my spot to a big money team because I had a sponsor coming the next day that was going to hot lap the car. And so I got a free set of tires and start money, and he took my spot. And the car was nice and clean and all ready for the sponsor the next day. So that was pretty cool doing that too.
Was it a tough decision at all to go on the road? I mean, when you're so dedicated to your local racetracks, do you remember, was there any nervousness or anything like that?
Not really. Just going to race, have a good time. When we were doing stuff like that, I didn't really care where I finished. I mean, obviously you want to run as good as you can, but it was more about just going and experiencing other facilities and meeting new people and, just turning it into a vacation basically and just having a good time.
And I just wanted to slide in there, but while you're on the subject, ARCA Supercar Series, which now anybody would relate to the ARCA Menard Series. You had some starts in that too.
Yeah, quite a few actually. I ran a lot at Auto City because Auto City used to have the Iceman Series there 3 or 4 times a year. So I got a lot of laps at Auto City. Berlin, Kalamazoo, just all over the place. Tri-City, I got to run Tri-City when it was asphalt. And as a matter of fact, I was talking to Claude Plant today about that. And I guess he was pretty good at Tri-City. And so we were talking about Steve Salve and Myers. I can't remember his first name, Mike Myers? Anyways, he was really good at Tri-City back in the day. And so we were talking about that a little bit and how the dog leg and the backstretch, it was half the Iceman 100 lapper before I figured out I could actually keep my car floored through that corner. I was like, holy mackerel, that didn't feel like it was going to work, but it did. So, yeah, new experiences on new racetracks was really cool.
I want to say thank you to Sweet Manufacturing. It's because of their support that we're able to continue doing. The March is Michigan Motorsports History Month. I mean, let's be honest, I would probably keep doing it, Rich, because I think it's so cool to dive into our rich history that we have here in the state of Michigan. And of course, is a member of the Michigan Motorsports Hall of Fame, the late Randy Sweet, who is the mind behind a lot of what Sweet Manufacturing is, built on his knowledge and performance. Sweet Manufacturing's name is synonymous with quality, and over the years, their products have become the industry standard. It's March. It was 70 degrees. Now is the time, right? You're actually probably a couple of months late on going through those rack and pinions, steering boxes, pumps, checking the U-joints, making sure those steering wheel couplers are safe, the quick releases, sprint car components, power steering tanks, you name it. They've got it at Sweet Manufacturing. Check them out online, sweetmanufacturing.com, or give them a call locally, 269-344-2086. Rich, that is Sweet Manufacturing.
Yeah, Dennis. So now you get to November, right? We kind of backed your career up and everything that you did and everything happened. I know it's got to be one of the two things, the Hall of Fame or the Glass City 200. I didn't ask you. I know when I asked you about the Glass City 200, you said, this is it. This is my whole career. This has got to be right there.
Oh, the Hall of Fame is right with it. It's actually probably a toss-up on which is a bigger deal. So when I went to the Hall of Fame, I walked in the banquet room that morning, that Sunday, and couldn't believe the people that were there. All the people, a lot of Hall of Famers that have been, admitted in the past, and it was just really cool. Matter of fact, I talked about how, my dad took me to the racetrack, and I mentioned Ed Cooper. Didn't know he was there. He was there. I'm over getting pictures taken, and he comes walking up to me, shaking my hand. I was like, wow. Yeah, that was my thought. Wow. It was really, really cool. So I tell you something else that happened too that's kind of comical. So I'm doing my speech at the Hall of Fame, right? And I got a list of sponsors and people that's helped me and people I drove for and stuff like that, right? Well, I almost pulled a Kenny Ogren. I forgot to mention my wife.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
Did. So, but here's what happened. So Gary Lindow realized I was closing my speech and hadn't mentioned Tina. So he come walking up, and as soon as I see him, it hit me that I didn't mention Tina. And he never even said her name or nothing. And I said, I know where you're going with this, Gary. And I almost messed up. I almost pulled a Kenny Ogren. And so anyways, yeah, it's hard not to talk about your spouse that supports you without getting emotional. But she has been such a big part of my racing career. I mean, we met at the racetrack. She was, Kevin Butson and Carl Butson. You remember Carl Butson at all? Mm-hmm. So she was his sister-in-law. And I met him at a gas station. I was going through a divorce, and he gave her my phone number, and we called each other, and that's how we met. Basically, it was through the racetrack. And that was in '89. And we've been together ever since. And so we've been quite the team, and she has been supportive of my racing since day one. So, yeah, we can't do it without sponsors. Well, we can't do it without our wives or girlfriends too. So
yeah, a good woman will make the world go around and that race car go around, right? So,
right.
Hey, real quick here, and then we got to let you go, Dennis. I know that this we could keep going, especially you and Rich. My goodness, you guys could tell stories all night.
Yeah.
But the second half of your career, you start doing some other cool stuff. Rusty Wallace driving experience instructor, which I imagine has to be very cool. And I want to hear some story. I want to hear a story about the Rusty Wallace driving experience. But then I also want to hear about what I think is sitting behind your shoulder there too. So those are my last two questions. What you've been doing leading up to retirement and since.
Okay, so when I retired and got out of the race car, which is hard to stay away from the racetrack, let me tell you, I'm still down there. But I got into building hot rods and street cars. So my Firebird behind me, well, first I did a road race car with a Mustang body on it, and I sold it, and I started building this Firebird. And I bought a old ARCA chassis, ARCA supercar chassis from Chris Benson. And after I did some research on it, figured out that it was a Jack Roush Greg Biffle car.
Oh, man.
From 2000. And so I took the Firebird shell and basically put it on the NASCAR chassis and made it street legal.
How hard was it to get that to fit?
I had to shorten the wheelbase 1 7/8 inches, but it wasn't bad. But I'll tell you this, I ended up cutting a lot more out of the car than I thought I was going to have to.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a big old pile of roll cage tubing and frame rails and that I cut out of that car. But I made it work. I had a jig I could put it on and tie it down. And so it worked out really, really well. The Rusty Wallace thing, I have got so many cool stories, but I'll tell you one of the better ones. So this grandmother is going to go for a ride in the race car, right? So they put her in the car, and she's small, little skinny thing, right? And I know she's older. So I'm like, and her kids and grandkids are taking pictures of her and cheering her on. And And so I told her, I said, look, if I get going too fast, just tap me on the arm and I'll slow down. If everything's good, give me a thumbs up. And so I go out down pit road and I'm getting ready to get on. And this is at Michigan Internationals, which we do like 160. And so going down pit road and right away she's thumbs up, you know. So I give her a good ride. We come back in. It didn't faze her a bit. And I was like, well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. She said, yeah, this is my third time doing this. I'm like, oh, great. And then another one, we're at Kentucky Speedway and we got done early. And so they decided that they were going to give all the fire rescue guys a free ride, right? And so this big guy gets in the car. I mean, tall, not super heavy, but, you know, kind of muscular and just a big, brawly guy, right? He couldn't do it. He said, pull over. Got to get out of this car. He couldn't handle being in the race car in that confined area.
Wow.
So one story from a little lady that didn't care, and another story from a big brawly guy that couldn't handle it.
Couldn't handle it. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool.
So cool, Dennis. Class of 2025 inductee into the Michigan Motorsports Hall of Fame. I got to imagine that's got a nice ring to it still.
Yes, it does. And Tina bought me a Hall of Fame ring for Christmas, so that's kind of the icing on the cake.
Well, you got some great comments here. You know, Bo says you're an absolute legend. Jamie weighing in on our interview tonight as well. So you still got fans out there, Dennis, and we appreciate making time for us.
Okay, thank you guys very much. It's a pleasure to be on.
Dennis, we'll talk to you soon. We'll take a break. When we come back, Rich and I put a bow on the Horsepower Happenings podcast live on the Mark News Network.
The Horsepower Happenings podcast is Michigan's short track racing authority. For nearly a decade, Horsepower Happenings has given race fans a chance to hear directly from their favorite drivers, local track owners, and promoters. Horsepower Happenings is the only podcast keeping fans engaged with Michigan area racing for 52 weeks a year. Don't miss the Horsepower Happenings podcast live on Facebook every Monday night at 6:30 and available everywhere you enjoy podcasts. Visit horsepowerhappenings.com and follow on Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube.
KG Media is your home for all things photography, race day social media, and more. Cody Geyer brings more than a decade of experience working with the top brands in short track racing. From individual photos to full race days, social media to PR, KG Media can make your race team, race track, or touring series stand out. For more information, go to marknews.org or visit KG Media on Facebook.
This place
Media is
welcome back to the Horsepower Happenings podcast. Yeah, that's I'll take you behind the curtain. I was just being blamed for something that I didn't do, but I guess when you're the host of the show, that comes with the territory. Rich, you don't have a lot of confidence in Friday's show at Attica Raceway Park, but it is the upcoming calendar, and that is what is on it right now.
Well, what makes you feel good is racing starting to get close to home. We always say that, Zach, and we thank Attica Raceway Park for that, because it kind of gets everybody in the itch. It'd be nice if Mother Nature would cooperate for once this year, but we'll see. But Attica Raceway Park Friday night, they're going to kick off their 2026 season.
And things can always change. So as Barry and I like to tell people when they ask us during the season, we're racing until we're not, okay? And so as of right now, plans are on for Attica Raceway Park. Now, the thing about the March 13th show that is unique from the other shows in March, Rich, is there is no Saturday rain date scheduled for this one. If this one can't get in, it's gone. Moving forward, these shows in March have a Saturday backup day for them. So that's the good thing.
Yeah, it sounds like they just threw this in, but if you're a UMP late model fan, 411 sprint car, 305 sprint car.
What size sprint car? What size sprint car?
410.
Okay, not 411.
410. That's what 411's a gear. 410 sprint car, 305. Stambaugh's going to kill me for that. I won't hear the end of it. But no, I mean, hopefully, they got the forecast wrong a little bit. It'll time up and warm up just a little bit more so they can get the show in at Attica.
Looking forward to it. Racing is very close. April 10th, I think it was. Montpelier expected to have late models. Crystal Motor Speedway expected to open the next week. And then I-96 right there with them. And then Great Lakes Super Sprints is in town racing as well. So The time is now, Rich. The time is now.
Yeah, early April, mid-April. I think I don't have the schedule right in front of me. I don't know the exact date, but the new Turn 1 CRA Pro Series at Toledo Speedway in
April 18th. I got you.
In April 18th. Yep, April. So, yeah, we're about a month away from really getting busy, right, Zach?
Want to say thank you to everybody who tuned in tonight. This, I think, is record live viewership numbers that we had tonight for Rusty Schlenk, Max Stambaugh, Zane DeVault, of course, Dennis Strickland as well. Want to say thank you to Noah Longyear, our producer, Rich France, our co-host. Again, another thank you to Cody Geyer for filling in over those last couple of weeks. And I'm Zach Heiser. We'll talk to you next week, same time, same place, right here on the Horsepower Happenings podcast.
You've been listening to Horsepower Happenings. The views and opinions expressed in tonight's show may not directly reflect that of Horsepower Happenings. The contents of this program may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or disseminated without the express written consent of Horsepower Happenings. Follow Horsepower Happenings on Facebook, Instagram, X, and all major podcast platforms, including Spotify, iHeart, iTunes, and Pandora, to keep up on what's happening.